Trayvon Martin, no conviction. Sandra Bland, no conviction. Katherine Johnston, no conviction. Sean Bell, no conviction. Eric Garner, no conviction. Rekia Boyd, no conviction. Amadou Diallo, no conviction. Mike Brown, no conviction. Kamani Gray, no conviction. Kenneth Chamberlain, no conviction. Tavares McGill, no conviction. Tamir Rice, no conviction. Ayanna Stanley Jones, no conviction. Freddie Gray, no conviction. And now we add to that list Philando Castile, no conviction. This is not the 1950s. This is not the 1940s. This is not the 1930s, the 1920s. This is not 1820. This is not 1860. This is not 1870. It's not the 19th century. It's not the 20th century, but it's 2017. It is the 21st century. And yet, when a black man is killed, a black man or woman is killed by the police, there still is no conviction. Black lives seemingly do not matter. There is no way that one can look at the videotape of the Philando Castile arrest and not become angry, because there's no reason that Philando Castile should be dead today. One should not have to be afraid whenever one is stopped by a police, but also the police need to stop stopping black men and black women for these petty, petty things. A broken taillight, come on, please. I've been there many years ago in New Jersey on a Saturday night. I got trailed by a police car to my home, asked to get out of the car, asked to breathe on him, saying that I was drunk when I had had nothing to drink at all, wanting to shine a flashlight into my car, and then given the reason that I was being stopped was because the light over my rear license plate was out. Nice try, except when the officer began to tail me, he had to turn around. So there was no way, since he was going in the opposite direction, that he could have noticed that that the taillight over my rear license plate was out. It was just nothing but a flimsy excuse. And so today I thank God that I'm still alive, because I was not so very compliant. I was a bit belligerent, because I was not happy to be stopped. I was not happy to be inconvenienced. And yes, as soon as that officer left, I went over to the police station and I made a complaint. And the only reason that I didn't go through further with that complaint was because a white friend of mine talked me out of it. Looking back now, I wish I had gone through with it just to make a point. But then again, what point do you make? Do you open yourself up then for more harassment from the police? Or are you trying to remove a good police? Or are you trying to move a bad police officer from the force? Either way, it's a no-win situation. And for the family of Philando, there's no way, as you look at Philando Castile, how does a jury not convict this man, Geronimo Yanez, of manslaughter? Not even murder, but manslaughter. I'm sure that Mr. Yanez did not get up that morning and say, oh, I want to go kill a black man. But yet, his reckless actions, because of his reckless actions, a black man is dead today. If I went out here tonight and got drunk, got in my car, had an accident and killed somebody, there would be a major uproar, and surely I would be in jail and later on convicted of manslaughter. But yet this police officer could really stop a car for no real reason, pull a gun out, shoot the man dead in front of his family, shoot in the car where there could have been other casualties. And he gets away with it for saying, well, I was scared for my life. And what say you, National Rifle Association? Why aren't you upset that this man who was carrying a gun legally had his rights violated, and yet you say nothing because he is a black man? Gun rights obviously are only for white men and not black men. So all of us who are black today, many of us live in fear today because we look at this and we look at what should have been a textbook example of how to act in front of a police officer. And we see that it was not. That this man was not belligerent. This man was not resisting arrest. This man was compliant. And yet, even in compliance, he was murdered. He was killed. Okay, so maybe it wasn't intentional. Maybe it wasn't premeditated, but he was killed. And that should be the textbook for manslaughter. Until such time, this country is willing to not only indict its police, but actually convict its police for the crimes that it commits, these actions will continue. Whenever a policeman shoots or kills an unarmed black person or even a white person, that should automatically trigger an independent investigation, an investigation not done by the prosecutors of that district, but from outside that district. And those who are investigating should not be the police from the force where that man has been, where the officer serves, but it should be a private investigation without any police involvement whatsoever. And when it comes to trial, it should be outside of the venue where the crime took place. Someday, we have to move past this. But it's also awful to be in a community where things like this go on in the world and there is no mention of it. To go to church and to hear people pray and not mention this tragedy. Have we become so immune to it that we just think it's natural? How awful for us, because this is not natural. This is abhorrent, and we must put a stop to it. Let's hope it doesn't take another century or even another year for things to change.